Hello darklings, my name is Sanniz and I'm from Sweden, and today is time for a Q&A. But first, don't forget to do the usual stuff and see you soon. Hello darklings, my name is Sanniz and I'm from Sweden, and I thought it was time for a Q&A. And I got some questions, and some people asked more than one in the same comment. I'm gonna put the comments beside or something like that. You're gonna see how it's gonna be when I have done everything proper, and I'm gonna answer the best I can. It's gonna be a trigger warning on the last one, so I'm gonna put a time limit if you want to skip to the end, but the ones before is nothing to worry about. So at least you know a little more about me, and it's from 7 different persons. So I thought I should start with some questions, and I have printed them out because my memory is not the best. So I'm gonna start with Lana Sharp Official, and she asked me on Instagram, how did you meet Trevor? And I think I've told you that before, or at least others in other videos, but we met actually on Twitter. We started to chat on Twitter, and yeah, we decided to one day that maybe it's time to meet when I separate from my ex-husband. So he came over to Sweden, and after that, you know how it went. I went to UK for some weeks, and he went back to Sweden, and little forwards and backwards, and then we decided that he should move to Sweden. And it was not an easy thing either, because UK was on the way to leave EU for the Brexit type of thing. So I had already to struggle even before with the EU thing. We was lucky that he came when he came, because if he came later, it should be even more harder for him to get in. You could thought it should be easy to move to Sweden when you are inside EU, but it isn't. Sweden is not nice when it comes to that type of immigration. So it took a lot of hassle, a lot of hard work and blood, sweat and tears, or whatever you could say, before we actually reached the point where we are today. And even after Brexit, he had to fast, go through other type. He needed to search for a new permit to stay in the country, even if he already had one that was for lifetime, because suddenly the rules changed. But because he had already been here and we could prove everything, so that didn't take that long time. But at the same time, he started to live almost the time that was needed. So we had already applied for the citizenship, and he got it. So he now have citizenship in Sweden too. So I guess it was a long answer for that one. So now we got the next one, and this is from Alla Metalman, and this was from YouTube, I guess. And he have asked, how did you become a goth? Was it the dress, the music, or friends? And that's an easy way. Even that during that time when I became a goth, I didn't know of the term goth, because it was in the 80s. I loved the music from the start. I loved a different type of music too, but I didn't really fit in the box with the kids we were hanging around, and all kids that was not the mainstream ones was hanging together. So no matter if you were punk, into electronic music, or if you were like a metalhead, or all type of that type of things that was not the mainstream ones, we hang together. So we were listening to each other's music too. But I was thinking, I don't really fit here proper, because I could still like their things and they could like mine too. But I had another type of music I liked, and it was actually later when I was connected with internet that I actually found out the term goth. Before that, I didn't know that much, because I couldn't read about it directly in the things either. When we have that type of music things you can buy the magazines with and everything. They didn't directly mention it. They could sometimes tell about some of the bands I loved, but they didn't actually say that much. But at the same time, I was fascinated over people that was looking in a certain way, and I always loved that type of clothes and makeup too. So that was just a bonus. And when it comes to the dark and inclined interests too, so I have already since I was a little kid, so that was nothing new. So the music was the first that actually got me to goth itself. The next one is actually from Elemental Man 2, and that was from YouTube in this time. I'm gonna see where the question itself is. Yeah, what is the best place to visit in Sweden if tourist? And Alan, it's not an easy answer because it depends on what type of person you are. Sweden is very long. It's very long distance from one side to the next side, from south to north. And then you got season. A lot of things are for season. And depending on if you are a party animal or something, you maybe want to go to the bigger cities like Gothenburg and Stockholm. Malmö could be one example, for instance. But if you have other interests, this might be a season related one. So for example, if you want to do summer things, you want to go to old castles and that type of medieval stuff, summer is the one to recommend. Then we have it all over the place. You can see those carvings in the mountains, rock carvings I think you call it. Then you can go up to what they call Tanumshede. There we have a big place where you can go and watch it directly in the nature. Very much of that type of things all over the place. And we have medieval things going on, and it's often summertime. And if you're gonna visit some places, it's best to visit them during summer. Some are closed during other type of year. But if they're open, they probably not have anything eatable in the closest area, because they usually just have it open just for that type of things. Maybe inside Stockholm, that type of things when you go for all the things. But if you're a nature person and if you prefer a little hotter, then you have to come in summertime. And depending on what type of nature, if you love to be by the beach, or if you love to be in the forest or in the Swedish Alps, it depends on you. And if you're interested enough to see the Northern Light, you have to come during the winter, and it's easier to go up to the northern part of Sweden, and you can probably Google where the best place to go is. But like I said, it depends on what you're interested in. So it's easier to tell than where you should go. And I know you like to hiking, so I should guess if you like nature and that type of things, even if you can go, you can take a trip through an ordinary forest down in the southern part or middle part, but then you can go up to the other area in the north and go and hiking in the mountains too. But I know people need to have some type of exercising before, because it's not an easy way to go. But I know you are capable to go those things because I'm watching your videos, so you should probably like to go on those places too. But it's still something that you have to plan before, Google what you need, and maybe contact the places that arrange those type of things, so you know where to be safe too, because you don't want to really hurt yourself or suddenly realize that you don't have any connection directly with the rest of the world, because it can be very bad connections there up too. Plus it's very long to maybe the closest person too. And yeah, there are some people who are stupid and don't bring the right type of gears, and we have mosquitoes, and even smaller one that is even more annoying, blood-sucking things. We call it knot. I don't remember what the English word for them is. So you have to have a lot of that type of spray or thing all over you too, so you're not gonna be all bitten if they like you. So I hope that was a good answer too. And now we go to the next person, and that is from YouTube, and it's Erika Konga. And she actually asked more than one question. So we start with, what is your favorite song? And that is very hard, because I'm in type of moods too, and even if I have my favorite band number one is Sisters of Mercy, so I can have another type of favorite song too, so it's a little hard to tell. But when it comes to Sisters of Mercy, I said This Corrosion and Temple of Love, Black Planet, or some of them. Of course, when you take other like the Mission Deliverance is one of my favorite. Yeah, you see. And if you go to other type of music, I have my other type from the youngsters type. When you take like Man Without Hats, Safety Dance, that's the song I always be happy for. I always want to dance too when I hear it. And we used to listen to that when we were training basketball when I was younger. And then it comes, how many pair of shoes do you own? And I actually forgot to count, because the most of my shoes is actually from my younger days, or more extreme days. So I don't really use them that often. But I do have some, but not that many as other people actually have. But when it comes to normal time of year, I don't have that many different type of things. I have my sport shoes, and I have my boots, and then I have some little more lighter summer type of things. But depending on the year too, and if it's hot or not, and what I'm gonna do, that's what I'm gonna do. Of course, in winter time I have winter shoes, because I live in Sweden. You can't have other things. You're stupid if you put something else on your feet. And where is the place you always wanted to travel to? It's actually a lot. It's US, it's Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, Scotland. Yeah, it's a lot of, even down on other places too, so I probably forgot a lot. I should want to go back to like Italy or something too, and I should want to go to the Bone Church in Prague too. Or it's not really in Prague, but not far away from Prague at least. So that should be excellent too. And I should want to go back to Paris to see the catacombs and that type of things, because I miss them. I was on that big graveyard cemetery, but I was not that old back then, and we didn't really have time, because the Paris trip was just an extra turn back home from Greece, so Greece and Italy. So someone was suggested when we came to Italy from Corfu, so said, do you two want to follow to Paris? And we thought, oh, we're not in a hurry to get back home, because else we had gone straight up to Sweden. But we decided we go to Paris, and we did, and we stayed there for a day, and then we just went on different type of things. So it was not that much tourist type of things, more than that big graveyard, and that is fabulous. I should want to go back and see that one again. And what is your least favorite makeup brand? I'm not sure really, because I haven't tried that many actually, but I think it depends on my mood too, and if they have, I think it's more that least favorite if they can't really get the colors I need, because I don't like when I put palettes and they don't have the main colors I want to add with them, because of course I use more than one palette often when I do my makeup. I have had a hard time to stick with just one if they don't have the colors I need to put together with the things. And the main color I usually want is a good black and a good white. Else I don't really matter that much, but it can be depending on the color schedule too. But I don't think I actually have that bad as I remember which one, so I can't really answer on that one. I'm not like some YouTubers that have so many different type of brands, so they actually can tell I don't like that brand at all. And then it comes to the last question: what is your favorite animal? And then it is a little hard. If it came to things that lives on ground, and we come to the more pet type of things, so that should be dogs, cats and horses, especially Icelandic horses. When it comes to wild animals on land, I should say wolf, lynx is my favorites. And when it comes to the ocean, great white sharks. I've always been fascinated by great white sharks. So that was everything from Erika Konga, and you see it was a lot there too. Then we come to another question on YouTube, and it's from Cat Lady Antigone, and she asked, how does your filming schedule look like? And thank you for telling that you love my videos too, especially my crafting ones. And yeah, I don't really have a schedule. Sometimes I try to be some week before, but it depends on my mood. It depends on how tired I am, and I actually work 40 hours a week when I'm working. Now I'm on vacation, so I have a little more time. I thought I should do more already, but it didn't be like that way. And see, I'm not like some YouTubers. I plan that in advance and have so much things going on. So I do when I feel for it and when I have time for it. And if Trevor are occupied with his crafting, he do models when it comes to war things like aircrafts. He does other type of war things too, and of course he does cars, and have done at least one motorcycle too. And I'm gonna start to try to do something in 3D too, that I'm not really sure what it is. But when he occupied with that, I can't do my crafting, so then I usually take my time and do. But most of the time I actually film, like today is a Sunday. So when we have been on very early done our weekly shopping and we had breakfast, I can make myself a little more fancy looking, at least even if I'm comfy or if I'm up dressed or what. So then I can do some of the videos. Sometimes I can do some videos even during other days, or if I'm off I can do more. But if we're off and doing something, then I maybe do something back then. But I try to put together everything as close I have filmed it, so I can upload it already. So sometimes you probably can see if I put that on that premiere thing, that is a lot of films coming up, but they come different weeks, so it can be actually during the same days around. I have done everything, but because I have done a different type of things, so I get things, so maybe I do more than one video, but it depends on the mood. Sometimes I'm just 1 week ahead, so it depends. So I don't really have a schedule, I'm afraid. I'm not that when it comes to that type of thing. And then we come to one person that is on Instagram, I think, and that's Vampnessy. And she asked me, tell us a fun moment from your childhood. And that's a really hard one to pick, but I don't know if someone have really taken that big interest in how my eyebrows have looked, especially when they're blonde. So the reason why they are that narrow on both sides is because on this side I have a big scar going from here and here all the way here, so I don't really have hair on this bit, so I have to fill in and everything to look like. And then it's even harder because I still have my natural brow on that side. And the story behind it was, I think I was around 3 years old or something, not that old, maybe up to 5 maximum. And I was watching Pippi Longstocking. I don't know if people know about it, but it's Astrid Lindgren in Sweden have written about Pippi Longstocking, the world's strongest girl. And she didn't even have to eat something to be that, because she was natural born that strong, and she have this horse with white horse with black dots on that she called Lilla Gubben, little old man. I don't know if they have translated it somewhere other way. And she also have this monkey that she called I don't remember if there was Nilsson or something she called it, but I don't know if they have changed name when they have put it in English or other languages. But I know it's a figure that actually been translated in a lot of different languages too. So I probably was watching her on the TV because that's what I've been told, and she always was up to things. And in one episode she was bored, she was with Annika and Tommy, that was the Swedish name on the neighbor's kids, and she had this thing that, oh, I'm gonna play this game that we're gonna jump on things and not touching the floor. And of course, what happens when you have a little kid that is more acting like the mischievous guys in that type of age? Because I was not really girly. I was never girly when I was younger. I was more like a boy. Sometimes they say that I'm worse than the most mischievous boys when I was little. So of course I had to do the same. So I was jumping around. But I can be a bit clumsy too. So it ended up that I was jumping on the sofa and then I lost balance. And then I hit the glass table and hit this part. So it was blood everywhere. So that is one of the things, and that is the story why my eyebrows is like they are. So I can't really have wide eyebrows that way, because from somewhere here it starts a big scar. So you have to be close to see it. So that's make a little hard for me to actually make the scars the same. So I think that was a little funny. Maybe if the end was not that funny, but it at least was a funny way to explain what's happening with me when I was a little kid. And another story was when I tried to take a photograph on me and my oldest little sister. So we were in Finland visiting my mom's mother, that is grandmom from that side, and we call it mormor, mothers in Swedish. And they should do this taking pics of us when we were kids. We should look cute, you know, sitting together in the photograph, and it was downstairs. And believe it or not, during that time I was not that easy to take pics on, and I really didn't want it. I was screaming, I was shouting, I was refusing, I was grabbing things. And then I decided to have this big toy donkey. So that was the only thing I said, you get this one if you came downstairs and take a photo. So finally, because I loved animals already back then, and I definitely loved horses and that type of things, that was very horse-like. So I got down there. I didn't really maybe smile that much on the pics, but at least they got a pic. And when I told about that, I just realized another type of story, but I'm not sure I'm gonna tell more, because we can maybe save that for another time, I don't know, because I thought this was a little funny too. Yeah, we'll save it. So at least I got 2 stories from when I was a little kid. And the last one, it was not directly during the Q&A questions on Instagram or YouTube, but it came like a question, and it's now gonna put the trigger warning. So if you don't want to see this, you're gonna skip a bit, because if you want to see the end of the video. But if you don't mind, you're gonna hear maybe something that is not that funny actually. And the question is because I was mentioning something about because he was commenting on one of my walking videos when I was taking a morning walk during my vacation, and I was telling that the video is in my natural speed, that is how fast I walk, because I can't run or jog or something, because in the beginning of 2001 I was in a very hard traffic accident. So after that, in the beginning I couldn't even hardly walk for a while, and even if I tried to run I got so much pain and I couldn't even hardly go on my feet. I had even special soles for my shoes to even be able to not have too much pain. Even if it's better now, I still have some problems. So that's why I'm not gonna take any chances. I know that if I start running, especially running on the wrong path, I have been falling in the stairs too many times and done something with my ankles. I don't want to take risks and go too fast. It's better to have a certain speed. But then he asked, because he didn't know what's happening during 2001, so he asked if I could explain about it. And yes, I can. It was just before my vacation 2001, and I was together with my soulmate Kent, and we had been to his parents' house where he used to live before he was a student and moved to Jönköping. But we just had decided that we're gonna be spouses, so actually he should live with me in Borås. So we were happy. So, and he should pick up a thing that a laptop that he got that came to his parents' place. We were there visiting them. The plan was that we should go to Gothenburg, meet friends, to go to this place that we call Liseberg, with all the carousels and that type of things. And we had a great time with his parents, was eating and everything, and I said drive carefully, and we thought everything was looking great. And then we was between Tranemo and Svenljunga on Riksväg 27, road 27, and suddenly, because that year they had changed the rules about how it should look like across big roads, that so if you have like a big mountain or a very deep place going down to crash in, so they now decided that they needed to have those traffic fences to protect people to go off the road and maybe end up dead in that type of way, or crash into a mountain wall or something. So they have built those things. You just have this one direction for each, depending on where you're going, and then you had fences, so you can't go off the road. And then we came to a place where it's a very long straight place, so you don't have to do any curves or something. We were meeting a car and it came towards us from Borås and it was driving on the wrong side. I started to slow down, brake, because I thought maybe the person see that it's on the wrong side, but nothing happens. It comes in full speed. And the only thing I remember from that day is just before then I realized this one is not gonna turn. So I was the driver in another car, so I did this movement because I know when we took the driver license that even if you see big moves or something come up on the road, you never do a left turn because we have we're driving on the right side. So you're not meant to do a left turn to avoid things. It's only when we overtake a car that goes in the same direction. You are supposed to try to go to the right, but I can't because there's fences there. And I realized this car is not gonna change direction, so I probably just in the last seconds decided I need to do a move. I need to turn left because I didn't have that much speed by then, because I realized that this is not working, but I was hoping this one should turn. That is all I remember. But the rescue team said that the two cars, it was very hard to know what's happening because there were people everywhere, cars everywhere. When they found the cars and persons that was involved in everything they were called out to, we were actually 100 meters away from each. So I was standing 100 meters away from the other car, and we were not even in the same direction where we came from. So we have like, yeah, it's hard to tell how it went. But I had blackout, I was dead for a while too. But unfortunately, my boyfriend, Kent, my soulmate, he died at once. He got two big things in that took his life. So they said to me he didn't feel anything. He died that fast. But even if he didn't die by that things, they should never be able to wake him up because everything inside here, all the ribbons, everything was broken. So if they had tried to even put him in some life going things machine, so they shouldn't be able, because nothing could hold the lungs in a place or that type of thing, because everything was pressed in, because every bone in his body was broken. I was from my neck down blue. I also had some blue things on one of my shins, and I was a little unsure if I had done something. Plus all ribbons on one side was more or less broken too, but I was still lucky. I was on the intensive care for some days too, and I have very bad breathing and very bad, and my pulse went up and down very low, almost stopped, and then it went up to very too fast too, so that's not good either. And sometimes plus my oxygen levels in my body was not good at all, and I was, after a while, for some week, then they moved me to the hospital in Borås, and I have to be on an area because it's summertime, so they closed some parts, so I had to be in a room full with old people that have done amputations. So they were first wondering what this young, I was around 32, 2001. Yeah, you can count, I'm gonna be 55 now. So just count my age back then. So yeah, they just wonder, what is she doing here? She have arms, she got legs, what's going on? But when they saw me change to the clothes in that hospital, so one of the older ladies was, "Oh my God, girl, what have you done?" Because I was completely blue from my neck down. So you could call me Smurf back then. Plus I got this, that's where I got my finger handicap from, because I probably hold that hard in the steering wheel. So something have gone wrong here. So they all already decided that I can be very shaky and all the type of things. I even got my cold asthma from that. They put everything out in my inner part, and I got fibromyalgia from that. So people that have fibromyalgia know what that is. It's pain that can be very bad sometimes, and depending on who you are and everything. So in the beginning I couldn't even work. I was like a pensioner, but I had to slowly try to come back to ordinary life, because I couldn't afford to go on that type of money, because it's too expensive to live, and it was not a life for me. So I still had pain and everything, and you know, after that I even got more. But that was why I can't run, because I was in that bad shape. So my feet didn't work either, because they're probably taking some of the damages too, because I was the driver and you have the pedals and I tried to brake, and you know, that type of things. I was not even sitting straight in the beginning. I was probably sitting little, because the car was looking completely. Some things thought that my boyfriend didn't have any seat belts on, but he had. The thing was, in that crash, how the other car, because that car decided to turn in the same time when I was, because in the first police report it said that the driver was sitting and reading in a paper with his wife, and realized too late they were on the wrong side, and then he looked up, saw my car, and did it at the same time when I did. So that was a very bad collision. So it was actually open the side of my car, so he was laying halfway out from the car. So some journalist had written that he didn't have any seatbelts on, but that's wrong. He had seatbelts on. It's just if the whole fucking side on the car goes away, of course you're not gonna sit there, because everything disappears. Of course your body gonna follow that direction too. And that made me angry afterwards when I was reading that. But yeah, that's the bad story about it. And I hope you're not gonna be too sorry about hearing it. And this was a very long, but I hope you still liked everything. And if you're new here, like different type of contents, because I don't do often this type of things either, but I should love to do more. But you need to give me questions then, and you can probably give me questions in this video too, in the comment section, so I can maybe do another one in the future, so I can save the questions. And if you're new here, like my comment, please do subscribe and press the notification bell. Old darklings and followers, thank you for your support. It means a lot for me. Love, love, love. And don't forget to give me thumbs up, and the most important of all, comment. I love reading all the comments. And please, darklings, be safe, be weird, and be nice to each other. Love you all. Thanks for watching. Bye.